cheap heat. Big son, look sharp. Don't make me bring the big side, get dark. Hear the bangs in the spark.
Alright, well, how are you guys this week? Alive.
Harry wasn't for a bit.
What, you have another heart attack?
It's been a while since we've had a podcast. Why don't you explain why, Harry?
It has been a while indeed. Well, I mean, it's been a few weeks. The first week, I have a legitimate excuse, because I had heart surgery at the grand age of 25. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
You old bastard, you.
And I somehow survived it. I'm rather surprised. Despite multiple complications and all sorts of shit in the fan, they pulled it off without a hitch, which was pretty cool. I had too much freaking wiring in my heart, which was making it want to, dubstep party every now and then, which was no fun. It was great for dubstep parties, but not really good for sleep. And, yeah.
Don't you have, 6 months to live or something as well?
Sell your ECG to Deadmau5 and live like a king.
Awesome. That's a good idea. I should do that. So, you're right. I may only have 6 months to live because the excess wiring, as it turns out, was wrapped around, in my heart that is, the main wiring. And so they burnt it out, or they cryo-froze it out, which is pretty cool.
You can't say that without saying it in a really cool voice, though. That's the thing, with cryo-frozen.
Yeah. No,
Cryo-frozen.
The last thing I remember before they put me under was Mr.
You're a cool
Freeze.
voice. Mr. Freeze.
No, I'm Evander on that one. It's not
Everybody, just chill out.
I'm Batman.
Where is he? But yeah, so if this surplus wiring decides to regrow itself through my main wiring, then I have problems. But this is unlikely. So I hope. So I've been told.
You could always pull a 9-man. Just put some shit in your chest and repel all that stuff.
No, that's the worst part. So a few years ago, this would have been open heart surgery, but they don't need to do that. This is 2014. So all they had to do was dice my legs open and put, I think it was about 5 probes up my arteries and reach the heart that way.
And they collected the minerals and then they came back to the Nexus.
Putting it out there, does this not sound like going the really long way, like the scenic route?
Yeah.
So, we'll take the old Pacific Highway. It'll be fine. It's your legs, not your arm.
Yeah, well, the arteries that are in one's legs are pretty big. You can fit a lot in there.
It's like when you're trying to take an international flight and you get a stopover that's past where you want to fucking go.
Yeah.
I mean, surely just opening
LA
your
to
heart
New
is
York
better.
Via London.
I guess opening your chest, they'd have to bend your ribs back and shit, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So, yeah, breaking one's ribs, it actually does the whole alien thing where they just burst open and shit. It's really nasty.
Ugh.
They're under a lot of natural tension. Yeah, but it was awesome. I got to rock out a pimp cane for a couple of days because I couldn't walk at all. And
the cane was fairly pimping.
Yeah,
It was.
Cane
Can
was awesome.
confirm.
Yeah.
I'm
Mind you, there have been multiple downsides.
Like what?
First and foremost, I am not used to having a freaking normal heartbeat, okay? It feels really strange and hollow.
Downsides to heart surgery? Never.
Yeah. But I don't react to anything. If I watch a gripping movie, my heart's just I'm still chilling. I'm doing nothing. I'm
Welcome
used to it
to
reacting
humans.
like crazy to everything.
And it was then that Harry realized he faced the greatest dilemma of his life. A normal fucking existence.
It's like we're all playing Battlefield and enjoying Origin, and Harry's like, Origin, that makes me really angry for no reason!
Except
like,
it doesn't
now.
make me angry anymore. Nothing makes me angry or happy.
Welcome.
It's all so sad.
Welcome to the rest of your life. It's like leaving the Matrix and going into the real world in Zion, where everything's boring and grey and Jewish.
Yeah.
It's like you're the Incredible Hulk, but your transformation is more like an epileptic fit.
Yeah. No, that sounds like me pre-operation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You no longer have Hulk powers.
But by far the worst side effect was afterwards. I can't remember what the scenario was. I think, John, you and I were just browsing 4chan or something stupid. And turns out there are pictures of naked women on the internet. Shock horror.
This is why everybody will always remember the day you had your heart surgery, because it was also the day of the fappening.
Yes, that is true. That's what it was. We were all talking about the fappening and stuff. And I messaged John saying that there's no point in sending me any of this stuff because my arteries on my legs, on both of my legs, have been cut open, okay? I literally cannot have a wank, okay? That would kill me. I would die from blood loss.
Best wank ever.
Yeah, if you're gonna go out, that's the way to go out.
No, you're the best.
Can you imagine the crime scene? Just Harry's chair.
Look, there's a group of people who like to, hang themselves or beat the crap out of themselves or try and choke themselves, go through all this effort to try and get the adrenaline rush. You don't need that. You're fucked already.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Boy, it has been a while since we did a podcast. The Fappening seems like old news now.
Yeah, so I guess in short, that's why there hasn't been podcasts.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So some news that's happened while we've been off air, and this is news that is not really relevant or important to anything, but I thought, it was a big important game, and we all played it a lot, so I figured it'd be important for Australia. Left 4 Dead 2 is now legal in Australia in its full uncensored glory.
Finally.
Final blood and gore.
So all of you stupid enough to actually have bought it in Australia, well you're still fucked anyway.
What's the alternative? What's the alternative? I'm going to import it, am I?
Yeah, play Asia.
You
Whoa,
fucking
can't we just have
otaku weebo bullshit.
John, did you never use Play Asia to get the RC game?
What's an RC game?
What restricted content, as in refused classification?
No, there's been nothing. I mean, there was Saints Row, but all they did was take out a 37 scene.
The Witcher 2? You got the censored version?
I guess so, but
No, The Witcher 2 was so easy to crack. I got the GOG and Steam version, and you can patch that really easily.
Also, Play Asia was just significantly cheaper. It was before Steam existed, it was like $20-30 cheaper than anywhere in Australia.
Yeah, but before Steam existed, there was no digital distribution. 2004, I didn't download stuff. Digital distribution. In 2004, I wasn't downloading stuff on the internet. I was still going to EB Games like a pleb.
You dumbass.
Yeah. So you can now get Left 4 Dead 2 uncensored. Which, speaking of censoring stuff, there's that new Saints Row game, isn't there, Harry? I don't know much about it, but I saw you post something about it.
All the Saints Rows, I think, have been refused classification in their normal formats here. It's actually quite interesting how the classification board works in Australia, because it's actually seen some games evolve completely. Like, if you look at Fallout 3 originally, if you actually have a look at the item names, Med-X is actually called morphine, and it originally was called morphine, but that got it banned by the Australian Classification Board. But if you have a look at New Vegas, it is now called Med-X again, because they decided to change the entire game for the Australian Classification Board. This is true of all of the different versions, no matter where you are in the world. And Fallout has always seemed to have changed, considering to take into account all the different classification systems.
Not necessarily in Germany.
The child bombing one.
Yeah, there was the they
child
weren't
bomb.
allowed to call it the Fat Boy.
No, in Japan they weren't allowed to call it the Fat Boy, but they still called it the Fat Man. Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
But they kept the name Little Boy, which was kind of ironic, because it's like, well, you banned one of the bombs but kept the other.
That's censorship for you. It doesn't necessarily make sense.
In Germany, they did it with Fallout 2 because there was you know how there's the reverse pickpocket glitch where you can put a grenade on someone and they explode?
Yeah,
in Fallout 2 you could do that to kids.
Fallout 3.
In Fallout 2 you could do that to children. It was pretty funny.
How's
you
that
can find
funny?
these little kids, reverse pickpocket them some dynamite, run the fuck away, and watch them just explode. And so they banned that in Germany, so they made it so that you couldn't do it to kids anymore.
What is the world coming to?
I know.
Was it interesting because that was a glitch originally?
All I want.
It was interesting that was a glitch originally because they turned it into a perk where if you're sneaking and you put an explosive in someone's trousers, it explodes.
They actually had a perk. I can't remember the exact meaning of it, but it had something to do with the amount of damage you did to kids, and they ended up banning the perk because of its image. Because the guy who was drawing the images had to like all the perk images, they're all drawn by this artist, and he tried to come up with what he believed would be, the easiest way of showing damage to kids, and he showed a picture of a pregnant woman and the Fallout Boy kicking her in the stomach.
Oh boy!
And he goes, in retrospect, this was not a very immature way of showing this.
I feel I've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, Fallout was a very interesting series.
Always has been.
Back to you, John.
Well, what I was getting to was that there's a new Saints Row game, is what I was going to say, called Gat Out of Hell. And if you've played any Saints Row games, it's Johnny Gat. And apparently he is now Satan. You like team up with Satan to...
you're there to take down Satan.
Yeah, sorry, you're there to
Johnny
take down
Gat
Satan.
is not Satan, you're there to free him.
Oh, okay, alright, sorry.
So to do that, you have to kill Satan, I think.
Okay, I'm
Saints
just
Row
looking at
5.
these pictures.
Still a better plot than Hatterful Boyfriend.
Don't worry, we'll talk about that in a second. So
That we will.
yeah. One of the many delicious quotes from the developers here is someone has accused one of the lead developers, a guy called what's his name? Something Jaros. What's his name? Something Jaros. Steve Jaros. He said they've accused him of going too wacky, having things like, the dildo melee weapons and talking animals. And he says, whoa, guys, this is on Twitter. Hey, guys, calm down. We don't have a talking animal, but we do have a talking gun. I will admit to that. So apparently there's guns that talk as well as dubstep guns. And then this guy, apparently he's, I guess he's started the development of it going through, but he's moving to Valve. He's just left Volition. He's moving to Valve.
I will buy it. Wait, no, go on, John.
I was going to say he's been at Volition for 10 years and has just decided to move. So that should be interesting. But...
I will buy this game if it has a Tim Allen grunt gun. If it has that weapon, I will pay for it.
You should clarify that joke.
So, someone went through Morrowind and replaced every single sound file.
It is the greatest thing ever.
With the Tim Allen grunt sound from Home Improvement. Not just like when the characters talk, but when the characters step. When a door opens, when you unsheath the sword, when you sheath the sword, when you hit someone.
The best part is when the best part is when you realise that his footsteps are the Tim Allen grunt.
Yeah, because you're just standing there listening to a guy, and then you hear slowly getting louder and louder.
And then you know there's a guy walking towards you.
And then it's proximity as well. The further the closer it is, the louder. So when you go up to the hatch at the beginning of the game, when you're stuck in that boat, it's really quiet sort of noises walking up to the hatch. It's like, and then you open the hatch and it's like, it's really, really loud.
Wait, the part that made me laugh about the hatch though is that the Tim Allen grunt is roughly the sound of a squeaky hinge.
Kind of.
More or less.
Kind of. Not that there'd be any squeaky hinges on Home Improvement, because that's what he's all about.
But there would be in Morrowind.
That's true. So, let's talk about some shit that happened while we've been away. Let's just start. iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus,
Lol.
Apple Watch, Apple Pay.
John is...
We'll get all except for Apple Pay.
Actually, I'd actually have some things saying Apple Pay because I've actually been reading through it.
Now that we totally aren't doing this podcast for the second time, we'll have some more to talk about it when it comes to Apple Pay. Let's start with the iPhone 6 and specifically Tucker. So you just bought a MacBook Pro for developing, and you're complaining that now you're going to have to buy an iPhone and a
Apple Watch.
and a Apple Watch as well. What I'm curious about is why you want to buy the 5.5-inch iPhone,
Okay, so
not the 4.7.
yeah. Normally, I've been very much at the smaller form factor of phones. So I've always preferred my 4-inch iPhone 4 over, say, the stupid Galaxy Note or whatever it is.
Well,
so
your iPhone 4 is 3.5 inches.
It's close enough. Yeah. In my head, I keep telling myself it's 4 inches, so I get by every day without having the latest iPhone.
You tell your wife that too?
Yeah, I do need to upgrade something fierce because the iPhone 4 is pretty old. How old's it now, John? The normal 4?
2010.
Wow, it's a time for phones.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I've never been a big fan of phablets, but because Apple's made it and it's expensive, it has to be good. That's the logic, right? That's the reasoning. I'm not confused about this. That's correct because it's expensive Apple.
Nice bait, mate. I rate it 8 out of 8. I straight appreciate.
Okay. Anyway, so I was watching the the keynote, and I've noticed that like generally you probably won't see that much difference between the phones, except for the screen size, and I think the camera in the back, and possibly battery life. But what they've made apparent,
definitely battery life, by the way. That's the main thing, really.
Essentially, one of these key points I did pick up during the keynote was that as a developer, you're able to take advantage of the extra screen size to improve your apps, which makes sense that that's not new. But Apple is really pushing it that there's going to be big differences in apps between the 4.7 iPhone and the 5.5. So, for example, certain apps, like if you flip it on horizontal, you know how you get your wide screen view and you can see a bit more. But apparently, when you're doing this on the iPhone 6, the 5.5 inch, so the 6 Plus, there's going to be a bit more functionality for these apps.
You'll have like a split view, for example,
exactly,
in Mail.
View, so you can get a list view down one side, and you can get a data view on the other. So you've got the two panels, flip around, do things.
They behave more like iPad apps than iPhone apps.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
that sounds just like that Samsung Edge phone. Your favorite phone, John.
Samsung Edge. Which one was that? I don't remember.
Oh, the one that has like the curved screen at one side, so you can have these extra buttons on the side.
Doesn't sound anything like it.
John hates a lot of phones. You're gonna have to be more specific.
That doesn't sound anything like it. This is a iPad that's 5.5 inches instead of 7, pretty much, and it has a cellular chip in it.
Yeah. So essentially, what I've been thinking is that Apple's made a good argument for getting these 5.5s over the 4.7, apart from obvious battery life, and they put a lot of time and effort into actually engineering it so that it actually feels good and nice in your hand and more ergonomic. Whereas I've played around with like the larger Samsungs, and some just don't feel comfortable in your hands. Like, you're gonna go wrap my hands around. Like, I got a big hand, but I gotta like go all the way around, wrap it, and like try and do things. Doesn't feel as nice. But once again, I think when we can actually go down to an Apple store and actually play around with it, we get a better idea. Like these rounded edges.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely going to be one of those things where you can't just pre-order it or online or whatever. You're going to have to go into a store.
I'm tempted.
You're going to have to go into a store and try the 4.7, try the 5.5 and decide for yourself. For me, myself, I really want my current one. I like the size of the 5S.
Yeah, I'll credit where credit's due. Some people are complaining that Apple isn't being very coherent with the rounded edge for the new iPhones, but they have to be round. Square edges don't work on big screen phones. It's really clunky and awkward to hold on to. Rounding lets your hand kind of morph around it a bit easier. So it makes perfect sense to have rounded.
That's the thing. I like the look of my square edges.
I like the square
it's a
one,
really nice design. Because when I looked at it, like honestly, when I first saw the 6 and I saw the round edges, I'm like, how Samsung of you, Apple.
Well, I mean, how iPhone 1. You know what I mean? Like the 1, the 3G, and the 3GS look like that.
I like the defined edges and curves of the iPhone 4 and 4S and 5. So when I see the 6, it's definitely a different design look, and that kind of threw me at the start. I'm like, like I know it's an iPhone. It looks more like probably a more latest Android phone compared to an iPhone.
I'd say Harry's right. I mean, they've looked at how it looks and then how it is to use, like how it works, and then they've sided with how it is to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that they've and that's obviously the right decision because you use it more than you look at it.
Well, that's the thing. They haven't half-assed this. So they've decided that, okay, if we're going for the way how it feels in your hand, they've noticed that the software has to reflect this hardware change. So now they've actually optimized the OS and their apps to kind of taking the fact that people want to use their iPhone 6s using like essentially one hand. So like I'm holding my iPhone right now and like just using my thumb for a lot of work. Like the iPhone 6, the 5.5 inch, that's big. So like they're integrating new hardware features like I think the home button is now going to, if you double tap that, it pulls down the app so that it's within range of where your thumb is.
Yeah, you can reach the top
without
of the
having to move
stuff.
like the phone in your hand and stuff.
But that aside, I think that the 5.5 inch phone, it's going to be like you're just going to have to use it differently. Like people who have Galaxy Notes and stuff do not use them one-handed. It's just you just use it differently. Just like with an iPad, if you have an iPad, you don't go around trying to use that one-handed. You just you're different in the way you use it.
Challenge accepted. But yeah, like I agree. I think like Apple's put forward two like fairly good phones, and now I've got to figure out is the screen size like enough determinant for which one I'm going to go with. if I do go for one, because they're bloody expensive.
Well, I'm definitely getting the 4.7, 100%. So.
Well, then I have to get the 5.5. Fuck you.
Yeah. But I'm not waiting. I'm waiting till next year. I'm not getting this generation. I'll get the S, whatever they are.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You already have a 5S.
I have a 5S, so.
Whereas I'm sitting with a 4, so.
Yeah. If I could, I'd wait with this for a while, as long as I can, really.
Yeah.
I like the 5S.
The main determinant for me, John, is the fact that I can't develop in Swift or any iOS 8 apps with a 4.
Yeah.
Because iOS 8 doesn't run the 4. They've come out and said, can't do it. So.
Yeah, so. And the 5.5, 5.5 to the iPhone 6 Plus seems specifically designed to work well with the Apple Watch, because the whole idea is you don't have to take it out of your pocket. And if I had the 5.5, I'd pretty much need the watch, because there's no way I'm going to be taking that thing out when I'm driving or when I'm, doing something with my hands or walking around and, just being able to glance at it. Whereas with a normal-sized phone, it should be easier.
Mind you couldn't use your phone in the best of times. You have, like, the stumpiest fingers.
Yeah, I'm fucking... Jabba the Hutt, right? So Jabba the Hutt's got his little, like, T-Rex arms, right? And then he's got his big fat slug body, and then right at the end there's the little tail. So my hand is the tail. It's like a stumpy fat person thing. So I can't use anything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Oh, well. But yes, the watches, they do sound interesting. I'm happy for Apple that they've made such a accessible looking and working device, but the tech-centric in me is a little disappointed. I wanted to see something, really new and whiz-bang completely out of left field. But, that wouldn't work as a product necessarily, so...
Well, the thing is, I think your expectations are getting the better of you there, because Apple's never done anything revolutionary. Every single time...
Hold
on. All they ever do is grab things that exist and they put it together. You know what I mean? Like, with the Apple Pay thing, which we'll talk about in a little bit, NFCs existed for ages. It existed on the Android phones, and it's existed before Android phones. Watches have existed before the Apple Watch. Phones existed before the iPhone. The BlackBerry was out, years before the iPhone. But how come all of a sudden smartphones were a thing in 2007, and in 2006 they weren't? You know what I mean? So it's when they take things that already exist and put them together, and so we won't really see the impact of it till much later on. But also the watch is a bit different because it's more of a fashion product than a tech product, unlike the the iPhone and the iPod and those sorts of things.
You guys don't seem to be mentioning the price at all for the edition. Holy crap.
Yeah, because you're looking at the 18 karat gold one.
Well, of course I'm going to look at the 18 karat gold, John.
Just get the $300 one.
Well, I'm planning on that. I actually prefer the look of the standard Apple Watch.
I like so for those who don't know, there's the Sport, which is, all rubberized ones and all that, so you can go in the water and things. There's just the watch, and then there's the watch edition, which is 18 karat gold. The watch, the thing is, you can swap out the bands very easily, so the one I'm probably going to get is that steel-looking band. I forget what it is, but that one looks quite cool. But they've got Milanese bands, They've got rubber ones, they've got leather ones, and yeah, they look pretty cool. And they've all got little magnets on them as well.
Yeah.
Which I quite like.
From what I've noticed, I think the internals of all the watches are the same. So it's the same process,
Yes.
same bits and pieces. What differs, from what I read, was essentially the outer shell of the watches. So the edition, as we said before, that's 18 karat gold.
Yeah.
I think the Sport has an aluminium body, like a light alloy body, and a different screen cover.
It has glass, and the normal one has sapphire screen.
Yeah, and that's stainless steel, was it? Or
yeah, stainless steel.
Yeah,
I know which one I'm going to be getting. It's called the Moto
LG?
360. Although the damn thing is sold out already. I had a pre-order and everything, and I had to apologize and let me know it's on back order. I'm so pissed off. I wanted my smartwatch.
Well, speaking of the Apple Watch, so we had a discussion the other day, Harry, about the name.
Yes.
Why it wasn't called the iWatch, and we've had time to think about it, and I think I've come to a conclusion why. So initially I was thinking about, the whole i thing, iPod, iMac, that's getting deprecated anyway because it's a 16-year-old naming scheme. So there's that. But I was thinking about cars and about how cars used to be, the Honda Accord and the Honda or the Acura Integra. the Toyota Corolla, those sorts of things. And what you would say is, you'd say, oh, I'm going to get in my Corolla, or I'm going to buy an Integra, you know what I mean, or I'm going to buy a Jazz. You wouldn't say Honda or Toyota. So there's no brand recognition there. And so I think a similar thing might be happening here with Apple Watch, where just like Apple TV, you have to say the word Apple. So there's some marketing guy inside Apple who's sort of, come up with that idea. And so it worked for places like people like BMW and Mercedes, where BMW just has, the 3 Series. So you say BMW 320i. You know what I mean? Because if you just say 320i, and it's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? You have to say BMW. So it could be a similar thing here. So that's my theory on it.
Yeah, I've got my own theory on it, in that I always think that everything that has I in it from Apple fills a particular niche that at the time of launch had not been filled. Like when the iMac first came out, it was really sort of the first all-in-one computer that was aimed for kind of mass production, throw it into the home or work wherever the hell you want it. The iPad at the time was the first tablet to have an iOS, or a mobile operating system, on a tablet of that size. Same with the iPod, the iPhone. The iPhone was the first of its kind of smartwatch. They all had niches. But then Apple TV... Sorry, iPhone. Yeah, sorry. I'm getting them all mixed up. But the Apple TV, for example, smart TVs in boxes or built into the TV, they already existed. This was just Apple's brand of it. It really wasn't bringing anything particularly new, just refinement to an existing genre, because that's what Apple does. So I thought maybe that's what they're doing, because smart watches certainly exist. This is by no means a new niche.
Right, like when they instead of they use I when they create a market, and they just call it Apple when they enter a market.
Yes, that's my theory on it. Which we've only got 2 things to use, being the Apple Watch and the Apple TV as the 2 examples, so that's pretty limited data, but there's very few Apple products that aren't called the i something or the Apple something.
All the computers other than the iMac.
Does anybody else think that if they called it the iWatch, it sounds like a 2014 social media remake of Taxi Driver? Like, really, the iWatch, it's saying it without any sort of context to Apple whatsoever. It's stalking.
Yeah.
I watch.
Now, there's a general, broader question here about watches in general. So, for a few years there, nobody wore watches. It's not really... I mean, looking at your phone was so easy, and at least people under 30 wearing a watch is a weird thing these days. Finny, for example, do you wear a watch?
Nope.
No, like any kind of watch. So you look at your phone when you need to know the time.
Yep. I've had a watch since high school.
Yeah, so me as well. And Tucker, you don't wear a watch, do you?
Not at the moment. I need to get mine repaired.
Okay, so
I've been saying that for 2 years now.
Yeah. So it's obviously not a priority.
It's the perfect placement for a watch.
Yeah, so people who wear watches, and Harry, I know you don't have one.
Never wore a watch, ever.
Yeah. What, even when you were 10 and 12 and stuff?
Even when I was 10. Screw it.
Okay.
So you don't Casio calculator watch or anything?
No, Tucker, we didn't all want to grow up to be accountants like you.
Well, no risk prisons for you.
So, wearing a watch if you do wear a watch these days, and you're, 40 and under, it's a fashion thing rather than an actual productive thing, rather than a thing that you'd use to tell the time. Obviously it is much quicker to glance at your watch and all that sort of thing than bringing out your phone and looking at it, but it's become a fashion accessory, and so that's why I think that Apple's really targeting this as a fashion thing, and bringing in the Burberry CEO and all that sort of stuff, and Mark Newson, these great designers from all around the world, hiring them specifically for this project, and focusing on it as a fashion accessory rather than a technology product. Rather than going, we can finally fit this technology into a watch-sized thing, so let's make a watch, like the Samsung Gear, Galaxy Gear. I think that they've gone, okay, people don't wear watches unless it's a fashion thing, so let's make something fashionable first and tech second. What do you think?
Targeting the hipster demographic actively for once.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But why is Harry not sold on this?
Because I'm a power user. I wanted the tech. I want maximum amount of tech thrown onto my watch. I want an iPhone with an elastic band.
He wants.
He's
He's
a power hipster.
Hold on, let me just grab that quote. I wanted an iPhone. Harrison League 24/7. 24/7.
Interesting.
But I wear a watch actually. Just recently, I've started wearing like watches, normal watches. And I like it. I like having a nice piece because guys don't really wear jewelry. It's the only piece of jewelry guys can really wear. So it's nice to actually have something, nice. However, it is a 420 Blazer Edition watch, so it's got that going for it.
The joke involved.
Oh dear. So anyway, Apple Watch, we won't really know much about it until next year. It's coming out in 2015, so.
Which is what sucks about it. Harry, the lucky bastard over there, gets it like this year. So.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you want a smartwatch, you could have already had one, Tucker.
Well,
It's been around for a while.
Like, if you want any serious contention to the smartwatch, then wait for either the Apple Watch, or you'd get like the LG or the Samsung.
Yeah.
Or
Well, there's two reasons why they delayed it. The first is third-party apps can be on it, so developers actually need to develop apps for it. So Facebook and Twitter are working on watch versions of their apps and all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. There's no actual SDK yet. I don't.
There is. It's called WatchKit, and it is out, so you can use it.
I missed that.
Well, you didn't watch the whole keynote then, did you?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
I watched the important part, which was
watch the whole thing.
It's like an hour and a half, and
so what?
Well,
just do it while you're jacking
no
off. Do two
excuse,
things
just-
at once.
And I couldn't watch it because I couldn't access an Apple device to watch it.
Yeah, because you need like
I
You
didn't
need a
care.
Mac. You need a Mac or iOS or something.
Harry, it's a very common business terminology called maintain the echo chamber.
Yeah.
Now, the second reason is that, like they did with the very first iPhone, they announced the very first iPhone 6 months before it actually released, because the whole thing has to go through FCC regulations because it's got these radios, it's got Bluetooth radios and Wi-Fi radios and everything. So so it would get leaked no matter what. So I guess they'd rather, control the actual release of it press-wise. So that's why it's not coming out till next year. So it wasn't going to be ready till next year either way, it looks like. Cal.
Yes.
Apple Pay.
Yes.
Apple's tying into the contactless payment thing, which we all currently use with PayPass and PayWave, and has been out for a few years with Google Wallet. But it works on your watch and it authenticates with your fingerprint. What do you think?
Yep. And well, the thing is, as I was discussing in a podcast that doesn't exist, the main issue that Apple Pay was going to see was PCI compliance. PCI being the standards authority that maintains essentially the levels of cryptography that are required and all the standards related to payment transfer. The way PayPal got over this is that PayPal is physically paying the person rather than you. You pay PayPal, PayPal pays them. So it's on a contract basis between multiple parties. With Apple Pay, that didn't seem like they were going to be doing this. It was going to be acting more like a card. And from what I've been reading on it recently, because I've only just heard about this a week, is that they have actually partnered with MasterCard. So I imagine MasterCard
and Visa and Amex.
Yeah, but anyone who has an Amex is typically someone who's an idiot, unless it's a corporate
or
one.
very rich.
Yeah, but Visa as well.
unless
So
it's
they've
corporate.
done the big three main ones: Amex, and Visa, and Mastercard.
And Visa, Mastercard, and Amex. But from what I can see, Mastercard seem to be doing the big push for it. So they're probably going to worry about the PCI compliance standard, and they said that they're using a cryptogram and a token.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But the whole thing I'm seeing is that the whole point is that I still don't trust NFC, and NFC has been a bad idea. The standard is too open.
But I mean, it's the same technology as these PayPass things.
Yep, and I don't trust PayPass either.
Okay, well that's all right then. Because
Yeah, I love PayPal.
I use it.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
no,
so I'm
everybody
okay.
uses it. Even I use it from time to time, but it is just so notoriously easy to hack. By the way, I'll put out a general public service announcement. If your cabbie is using a Verifone terminal, an older style looking one, try to avoid using PayPass. There has been some issues.
I see.
It is very easy to load a third-party chip. that will read into code, because it will essentially hijack the firmware of what's transferring the token keys and the tokens and the cryptograms in the first place.
Right.
So, like, the whole point is that we're getting more convenient for significantly less security. And to be honest, I think the banks absolutely hate this, but the card companies absolutely love it, because it's not really the card company's problem; it's the bank's problem.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's been so many credit card fraud and credit card hacks and all that sort of thing over the recent years that people aren't exactly feeling it when it comes to normal credit card security anyway. There are some people that are stupidly uninformed and they still think that signing their things is more secure than a PIN.
Nice plug for the show there, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That was intended.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, look, if I say this, like, this is nothing new. The whole convenience over security. I mean, developers have been dealing with this, like, for years. Like, this has been a problem for a lot of the authentication protocols and authorization stuff. Like, as time goes on, developers are demanding for more, it's like easier to use protocols and programming when it comes to implementing security in both software and hardware.
Those lazy fucks.
I know, right? I'm not a part of this. I'm one of the developers who chooses security over ease of use and convenience. But what I have noticed, at least from the articles I've been reading about this Apple Pay, is essentially Apple doesn't are pretty much providing a channel for this transaction to occur through. So they don't take part in any of the tokenizing or the cryptograph, except for the chip on the phone. So I thought at least Apple are being completely cold-hearted and evil and controlling the entire thing. But they're more just facilitating the transaction between the consumer and the merchant and the bank.
Well, unlike some companies which will remain unnamed, their entire business model isn't based on knowing anything about you.
Although apparently they are planning on charging banks for this, though.
Well, they've done deals with banks. So instead of how you charge differently if your card is present versus your card not being present.
Yeah, the different rates.
Yeah, so they've managed to work it out where they have the same rate where your card is present, but they add like a 0.00 whatever percentage on top of it. So there's a tiny little.
Now I think there's a difference between the 5 and 5S and the 6. So the 6 gets charged at the card present rate, whereas the iPhone 5 are going to use a Bluetooth implementation.
Correct. The 6 and the 6 Plus will have actual NFC technology in them. The 5S and the 5 are using Bluetooth 4.0 BLE, low energy. So, different technologies, so you'll have a different charge. And then when it comes to, you can pay with your watch as well, and then I guess verify with your phone, with your thumbprint. I'm not sure how it'll work, but...
Even though I know BLE is different from your standard Bluetooth 2.1, simply mentioning the Bluetooth makes me uneasy, being the Bluetooth is like one of the least secure.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have called it
short communication.
They really should not have called it Bluetooth. They really should have called it, Wi-Fi 802.11ac or whatever its actual specification name is.
802.11ac is the new 5 gigahertz.
Yeah, but the Bluetooth is a 802.11 dot something. I forget what the exact one is.
Do you mean the authentication protocol? Because you're probably getting it mixed up with the one that replaced Cisco Leap, which was a piece of shit after it got hacked, which was 802.11x.
Maybe that is what I'm thinking of.
Well, I guess one of the good things about security is that at least developers won't have access to these to the crypto chip on the iPhone 6. So it is being isolated, and it's purely a encapsulated processor. So as a developer, you can't just write an app and then try and get information from it. So it's not going to work, which is good from Apple's point of view.
But remember, exactly the same thing was with the Veriphones. All they did was intercept the firmware. So they intercepted the raw communications before it hit the chip. And
that's what I'm hoping Apple aren't
basically duplicated the firmware by doing essentially a reverse flash.
Yeah. All right.
So it is possible, and it's already happening with PayPass technologies. It is from an engineering perspective fairly easy. You obviously need the programs and tools to do so, which can be difficult to acquire. But the concept's quite simple. Essentially, just pull the firmware from the chip that's actually doing the decoding, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, true.
But because the way I see it is from almost a purely physics perspective. There is a transmission occurring that is going to be in a raw format of some form. If you can duplicate that raw format, it is exactly the same.
Yeah, true.
Do you understand my meaning?
Yeah, it's either that or I think previous problems with like FOSS and stuff was the actual implementation of the protocol and stuff. I remember there being a hack produced maybe last year where there was a bunch of researchers in England discovered that the pseudo randomness was predictable in some FOSS machines or ATM machines, and they were able to crack it that way. So. As long as
somebody who actually sells magnetic stripe readers, yeah, I can easily make an exact copy of your credit card with unbelievable ease. It's really not that difficult. You just got to get an MSR and enable it for all ISO and JIS standards over tracks 1, 2, and 3, and boom, you've basically got all of it.
Yeah, no, it's not just that. It's also just the fact that the actual number generator to start off the protocol and stuff was just easily predicted. So.
All right, Tucker. I think we're done boring people. Let's move on.
We are done boring people. And back to the show.
I'm envisioning a separate podcast with just Cal and Tucker.
You finally did something that I know about deeply. Magnetic stripe readers. Do you know how fucking boring they are?
And this is why we're never going to have Thomas on this podcast, because he's going to do a similar sort of thing.
Thomas and I had a very good long chat about how trading FOB in Australian dollars with a Taiwanese company is a really bad idea because of GST.
Yes, and I think Andrew and I were present.
How many people did I put to sleep with that one sentence?
We almost walked into traffic.
I'm excited about it.
Moving on.
Move on. Edit that out. Edit it.
Finny, please tell us about something fucking interesting.
I would, but I think my brain just crawled into a corner and died.
Let me just rub the sleep out of my eyes.
I've been watching something interesting, which John put me on to.
Was it porn?
Was it hentai?
Wait, so you're not going to let fucking Finny talk now?
I thought he said he had nothing.
He was joking! You just fucking took him over. First,
Andrew, you have the stage.
Cal talks, and I get ready in the chat. I say, Finny, you're next. And then Tucker just takes over, and I say, alright, Finny, for real, you're next this time. And then Harry's like, well, I'll tell you about something. Go, Finny,
just
please.
Talk, ignore us.
What the hell was I actually going to talk about now? I've been interrupted so many times I don't remember. John, prompt me. What was I meant to talk? Metro. That's right, that. Metro Redux.
See, this is why we don't have you.
Wait. We talk about games in this podcast since when?
Worst gaming podcast ever.
No, talk about it. I want to learn more about Metro, because it's in my Steam library, but I haven't got around to playing it.
What? The Redux?
No, like, I think I got like 2 Metro games in there. I haven't played them yet. So Finny's going to, like, fucking inspire me to play it.
So explain what's happened.
Not.
Serious?
Finny, explain what's happened with the Redux and all that.
Okay, so they redid Metro 2033 in the updated engine that they made Last Light in. They also made some minor changes to Last Light. So basically, it's Metro 2033 plus all of the bugs from the original game ported over so that it now looks pretty. And I must say, it looks amazing. But it's just Metro 2033, which came out quite a few years ago. It's a damn good game. But really, the only advantage is... Okay, so you get the weapon customization part from Last Light, which is a nice touch. The graphics, as I said, are really good. There's a couple of new animations. They added diary entries, which come straight out of the actual book that the game is based off of, which was a nice touch. One of the significant changes they made is in the original, if there was a cutscene, it would pull away from your perspective so that it was no longer in the first person. The entire thing is now shot entirely in the first person so that your perspective is never broken, which is a really good addition because the game was all about immersion and it really helps with that.
They always called it a sort of a more of a modern day Half-Life as well when 2033 first came out. That helps.
Very much so, except now that it's got the new engine, the characters don't make you laugh whenever they try to say something serious because they look really stupid in the original. So
I was gonna say, Finny, like when I first played the original one, it was quite immersive for its time. I don't imagine it could be really too much more, like without me actually smelling shit. Will I smell shit if I play this game in the sewers?
No, it has got more immersive than the original. The addition of the graphics, I mean, it is... Metro Last Light, I think, was one of the best-looking games. It is rather spoilt by its setting, though. Any game that's set primarily outside it's difficult to make the lighting look exceptional, or just the graphics in general look standoutish. The moment you go inside is where you can actually start to see dynamic things in the lighting. It's, for instance, in Skyrim, it's when you went down into the dungeons that you began to realize just how well made the game was. In this, because you're set entirely underground, they've done amazing things with the lighting and just the textures. Everything about it is just incredible now. So it is definitely worth it. Don't bother with the Last Light redo because they've done virtually nothing. I think they just wanted money and they thought that was a good way of getting it. But it does add to it because there were parts that they've added over from Last Light which make the game more immersive. But it is definitely worth it. But it's
cheaper too, isn't it?
It's well, yeah. Well, you're not going to make a redo of a game that. When did Metro 2033 come out anyway?
2008.
Yeah, you're not going to make a remake of a game from 2008 and charge $80 for it.
Yeah, it's 20 something, right?
Yeah, it's not that much. You got to. I bought the original, so I got a discount, I think.
Okay, because I saw it because it's on the new consoles as well, PS4 and Xbox One, and I saw it on the store there. It was $24, I think, per game, or you could buy it together for $50 or whatever. But
well, if you don't own Last Light, get the redone version.
Yeah.
But it is an incredibly good. It was a great game when it came out. Like the single player element, despite the fact it had more bugs than an ant colony, it was a great game. Incredibly immersive. It had a great story. It had everything that I'd ever look for in it. But the new engine for it just makes it look absolutely astonishing, and I think it's definitely worth it. You do need some patience to figure out the fact that it has got 1,000 bugs, which they couldn't be bothered to get rid of.
So for someone like Tucker who owns the original one, and for someone like me who owns the original one, is it not the whole bundle? If we already own Last Light, then we already own it, but just for 2033.
Exactly, yeah. They made... I don't even remember the changes they made to Last Light. They were minuscule. There was a fair bit of controversy around the Last Light redo, in that they charged the same price for it, but they did comparatively nothing. The Metro 2033 redo, however, was definitely worth the money, because it's what is an already great game made even better.
Okay, so Tucker, you gonna get it?
I don't know. If it's cheap enough, so maybe I'll wait for the Steam Christmas sale. Maybe pick it up there.
That's true.
I don't know. Should I get? I don't know if I should get it. I have the original.
Have you played the original?
Yeah.
Have you
played the original?
No, I said it's sitting there. I've downloaded it onto my hard drive. I just never go around to playing it.
I'd recommend the redone version, just because whilst there are still a lot of bugs, it does play a hell of a lot better, just because it's newer.
Okay.
It's not because the original at times could be immensely frustrating, but they've gotten rid of a lot of that in the redone version. So I recommend the redone, Redux, or whatever the hell they want to call it.
Yeah, Redux. All right, I might do that then. So I'll just pick it up in the bundle. So get Last Light and 2033.
Well, if you already have Last Light, then
don't get the redone version of Last Light. It's just there's no reason to do it.
Oh, okay.
Just go and pay $20.
Whatever is the cheapest on Steam.
So just look for 2033 Redux. They do sell them separately, and I think it's $23, $24, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And now to our foreign reporter from the glorious nation of Aristoka, Matthew Tucker.
That's me. And for the great game, Papers, Please. Oh, man. Oh, it's so good. The accountant in me just jumps for joy when you go pick out and nitty-gritty little details about people's passports. But also, it breaks my heart. So, I don't know about you guys, but when I play this game, I try and pick a persona. So I think I chose the wrong persona the first time, and I went, I'm going to be a man who's hard and goes by the book, but I have a heart. And
it's not an RPG.
Yeah, the problem is, but this is what makes you the decisions I make better. And as I said, bites me in the ass, because that's what fucking got me screwed over. Because I played it by the books, look at my map, check people's passports, go through, no, please go away. And then this guy comes along, and everything checks out, and he goes, oh, now, you're such a good man. Look out for my wife, she's been through a lot. She's coming in after me. I'm like, oh, no, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Because I knew something would be wrong. She comes through, something wrong with the passport. I'm like, oh, crap. So I go through, I found there's something wrong. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll let her through because, I have a heart sometimes. I'll let her through, get to the finished level, get to the screen. I lost money on it. And losing that money ended in me having no money after paying certain bills, and I lost the game. I got that bad ending where if you run out of money, you get kicked out. But hey, there's always an immigration officer. plays very good.
So has Scott Morrison played this game yet?
Who's that?
Oh dear God!
What?
Edit it out because nobody knows. He's the immigration minister here.
Oh.
God damn! If any of you guys have any idea?
As if an Australian podcast would know what the hell is going on with our Australian politics. No one knows what's going on in Australian
Do
politics.
you ever listen to any radio, watch any TV, even just read any online anything? You get involved in anything.
Listening to the radio or watching television in 2014, Callan. That's great.
Tune in. Get
This
the
guy.
dial on the right digits. Gotta make sure those frequencies are lined up.
Let me wait until they say it's time for me to consume content. Great joke, Cal. Great joke.
So you don't read any news of anything that happens in the world.
I read
Just
news
opinion
on
pieces.
the internet.
Just opinion
Yeah, it's
pieces.
on the internet too.
And they all say cultofmac.com, how great Apple is. Which everybody agrees with. And the whole comment section. Yes, I agree with this writer.
I disagree. You're banned permanently.
Too much.
Okay, so anyway, back to it. Even though I have to get back on track. So even though this game has shitty graphics and a couple of bugs, I think the simple gameplay and the very simple and limited limitations on it make it a very good game. Not perfect, but a very good game. Would you concur wholeheartedly?
I completely agree. It is so immersive.
Yep.
Yeah, I would. I would say when you just said it's it's not a great game, but a good game. I'd say it's definitely.
No, I'm saying it's a great game. It's not perfect, but it's very good.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely art though. I'd say
Yeah.
it's yeah. No.
Now,
I really
who
like
here
it.
cared about the uncle or the mother-in-law or anyone?
Screw
No,
the
they were-
uncle.
They were just numbers, but they were just representations of in my emotional cortex.
Yeah.
Um,
They were just hardships, you must
Yep.
pay.
And you had to decide, do I get heat for everyone? Do I feed everyone? Oh, the uncle gets sick. Like, the uncle always got sick with me, so I had to always buy him medicine and shit.
You
And everyone
lucky
got cold.
bastard. It was always my son that got sick. No, it was
Really?
just
Oh, that's even worse.
cut the electricity, get this kid medicine now. My son.
The other
the
thing I
uncle,
found
so
that happened all the time was I kept getting prostitutes coming through the gate, and I let them
Yeah.
through because the papers are legit, and they keep giving me cards to go and come by and get a free lap dance, or we'll show you a good time. Like I said, I'm like, how do I see this part of the game?
yeah, exactly.
Because I couldn't.
DLC.
I have a pile of bloody stripper cards, but nothing's happening with them.
Yeah, it's DLC, Tucker.
was thinking
I
of-
felt more connection to less connection to the specific things that were going on, and more the overall tone of the game. From the music to the color to the 8-bit graphics to how depressing everyone is. It just really just drags you down and gets you ready to want to kill yourself.
Yay.
It's the equivalent of the game equivalent of watching something like The Road or whatever. Like, it's just a depressing time all around.
Sounds like Spec Ops: The Line.
Shit happens in Spec Ops: The Line. This is
Yeah,
way
you
better.
still
than...
feel terrible at the end of it.
Yeah, but it was telegraphed. Like, this is much more subtle and insidious. I think this is a far better game than Spec Ops: The Line, even though I did enjoy Spec Ops: The Line quite a bit. As simple as this is, I think this is actually a better game. And you know me, I hate indies, and I'm the most mainstream guy around. But this is one indie. This is one indie guy one indie game that I was really into. Yeah, definitely.
They made a My Little Pony version of the game.
Oh dear God!
Get out.
Tell us more, Harry. Tell
Fuck
us
it,
more.
I'm moving on before he gets started. Destiny came out 2 weeks ago. We tried to talk about it last week, and we totally didn't lose the recording. So,
Just to clarify, listeners, John, Harry, you had one job.
Yeah.
One simple job to record a podcast, and you both failed it.
Yeah, we both did. Hold on, I recorded 8 minutes of it, so my failure is slightly less. It's
Hey,
quality.
close the windows.
It's 8 minutes of gold.
But by the way, Harry, the invoice for my time you wasted is in the mail.
Oh, thank you.
and that was our longest podcast ever as well. We recorded for an hour and 60
That
minutes.
was why
an hour and
Harry's
50
backup
minutes.
failed.
That's 2
because
hours, John.
He used
Yeah.
one that doesn't record that long.
Yeah. Yes, Tucker, I'm aware an hour and 60 minutes is 2 hours. I meant to say an hour and 50 minutes.
That sounds like me whenever I cook something on my microwave. I cannot put anything in my microwave without, putting in 1 minute and 90 seconds and then laughing.
Yeah, it's like, is it a base 10 system, or you don't know which way it's going? It's like, is it 120, 1 minute 20, or is it 120 seconds? You never know. The mysteries of the world. So Destiny's been repeatedly called, like, it depends on who you ask. So Bungie's used terminology from the MMO world to describe it, but have said it's not an MMO. Meanwhile, fans seem comfortable calling it an MMO, despite Destiny's clear roots, in Bungie's history with Halo as a developer of shooters. It's got the loot system from Borderlands. It's got the perfect shooting mechanics from Halo. It has the complete lack of real story from bad games, I guess. There isn't much of a story. It's mostly just excuses for you to hang out with your friends and go shooting and have a good time, which is fine enough for me, because this is the most fun I've been playing this is the most fun co-op experience I've ever had. And I've played, probably in the past week since it's come out, I've played over between 60 to 70 hours, I'd say. It's just a great game, and mechanically perfect, as I said, as you'd expect from Bungie when it comes to a shooter. The end game I'm not at yet. I'm just getting to level 20 now, and level 20 is the cap.
Just clarify, John, you'll never get to the end game.
Yeah.
If it's an MMO, you'll never get there.
Well, that's why I'm so excited to get to this end game, because it'll be the first time I'll actually have an end game character in an MMO. But that's the thing; it's not really an MMO. It's really like a Halo game with progression. And then
So
anyway,
it's an MO.
Yeah, so you can bring your characters from the single player into the multiplayer, into the PvP, which is called the Crucible, and fight with them there, and that also levels you up. And anyway, it's a beautiful game, and the sound design is amazing, and it's really, really great. It's just that the story is a bit lackluster, and it has the worst voice acting from one particular character from any game I've ever heard, and it comes from one of the best actors of this generation. Would you like to guess who it is?
Justin
Is it
Bieber.
Tyrion Lannister?
Yeah, Peter Dinklage plays this little robot known as Dinklebot.
Really?
No, I call him Dinklebot. But he not just phoned it in, he called someone to phone it in for him. It's like,
What?
he'll say something. Okay, so one of his lines was, so that wizard, it came from the moon. That's interesting. Delivered just like that. It's so bad that I just want to mute him and not even worry about it. And he does so much exposition. He's talking about, because you go between Mars and Venus and the moon and Earth, and you're going all around the solar system because this darkness is encroaching, and he's talking about how much of a threat the darkness is and all this sort of stuff. But he says it in such a bland, does not give a fuck voice that I don't give a fuck, and so I'm just sticking to having a good time with my friends.
See, I heard he did that he was told to do that on purpose.
What, like act like a robot?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but
Now,
there's got to be
the
some
question is-
license there. It doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah,
Now-
I figured that.
Now, John, I've had two guys at my work. I personally haven't purchased the game, but I have two guys at work who are already trying to sell it. They are over it. They have gotten bored.
Have they gotten to the end game yet?
Yep, they've gotten the end game. One of the guys has almost end gamed it twice, and he said, "Yep, he's over it." He said that the amount of time it entertained him for was lackluster, and he wants to try and sell the game.
Well,
Do you expect that happening? I don't think it's possible to sell this game, but
has he gone into PvP?
Yeah, he said he found it very boring.
Well, there you go. So that's why he won't keep it then. I will keep it, because for me, Halo PvP... Halo's always been about the multiplayer, and this is all about the multiplayer rather than the single-player campaign. So the single-player campaign, you just play through to get geared up, and then you dive into the multiplayer. And so if it didn't really grab him, then of course, yeah, you go ahead and sell it. But I'm going to be playing this for a long time because of the multiplayer, which is great fun. It's just like old-style Halo multiplayer.
So if you're
What
looking...
happens when the normal Halo comes out?
Halo 5?
Yeah.
Well, that's not till, 2016, isn't it? Or late 2015, so...
You had a perfect opportunity to quote a Firefly line, didn't.
Why? What is that?
You don't know what
Harry.
Firefly is?
Yeah, I know what Firefly is. What's the line?
The one where Jay and
Silent Bob?
No, it did
Yes!
not. No.
Jay is
When
done it.
when Jay and Malcolm are in the hangar. Oh no, it was in Jay's thing, and he says, how much? What happens when the money's too good for you to backstab me?" And then was it Jay says, "Oh, then that'll be an interesting day."
Who the fuck is Jay?
Jane.
Oh,
Jane, sorry,
Jane!
My bad. The hero of Canton.
The hero of Canton, the man they call
They call
Jane.
Such good.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. I rewatched
that's
that recently.
true. Of course, it's great.
Good. Like,
But look, yeah, I mean, fuck. If I get 2 months of enjoyment out of this, then that's money well spent because it was only $60. If I
2
get
months.
a
You want me to
year,
spend $500 and get 2 months enjoyment out?
no, I'm saying at the very minimum, if that's
Yeah, but
if I
you
run
want me
out
to
of
get an Xbox One?
shut
just
the
so I
fuck
can
up
play
while
this?
I'm finishing my sentence.
Welcome to
if
my
I
world.
if I get 2 months to finish the single player and I never play the multiplayer, then that's 2 CDs or 2 albums that I've gone and bought. That's more than enough fun. But if Halo 5 comes out at the end of next year, then that's an entire year and a bit that I've got to enjoy this game. And that's worth the money. And then if they keep adding expansions and DLC and stuff, then that's even more time I'm spending. So if you're not into playing multiplayer, not co-op, multiplayer, competitive multiplayer, then you should not get this game. But if you are, then do.
I know why I won't be getting this game. I don't think you realize just how much damage you did, John, when you sent me the very first gameplay video of you playing it, which was just you and
Dancing.
a bunch of randoms dancing. I fucking hate games that do that.
Well, it's got
just
it's
so
got that
interesting.
MMO thing,
So
So
yeah.
you
Right
hate every
now.
MMO.
Pretty much every MMO because it
Yeah.
has shit like that.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
it's
the only
pointless.
criteria.
It's a pointless little tacked-on thing to go, haha, isn't that amusing? And it's got nothing to do with the game.
Well,
But-
it's in
but-
the
but-
social hub area. You can't do it in the main out when you're doing shit.
Oh, I
What
don't
else
know.
are you going to do
Try
in
it.
the social area?
I remember in the Old Republic, you could make your companion dance, and it was made a lot funnier when it was a Twi'lek and you bought her the slave girl outfit. But the better one was if you had I didn't actually have this. One of my friends did. He had all of these premium unlocks, and one of them was it would send a disco ball into the air, and everybody who could see the disco ball would immediately start dancing. It was unstoppable.
That's brilliant. Once again, Harry, you've focused on the tiny little bullshit thing that doesn't matter. Bro, Brothers was ruined for me because of the cliff is unstable.
The little things that make up life.
Yeah.
Hey, PC Master Race.
Yeah.
The little things that count.
Anyway, so I'm really enjoying it, and obviously a lot of people are, and they've already made back their budget, which wasn't $500 million, but for some reason that number is going around everywhere, mostly because we reported it, well, incorrectly, but they've made back their budget in the first day, and what that means is that all the money's going to, I was about to say Bungie, but probably Blizzard, because they're owned by the same company now, but...
Yeah, because Blizzard Tone needs money.
Yeah, Blizzard needs money, that's what they need.
Even though they print money for a living.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'd recommend it if you like competitive multiplayer and you like cool experiences, and if you have a next-gen console, because there's nothing else to play on them at the moment.
Cool.
And that's why I still haven't bought one, John.
Yeah,
Can't you play it on 360 and PS3?
yeah, but I wouldn't. It's like saying, oh, let's all go to Eastern Creek Raceway and have a race. What do you got? A Skyline. What do you got? I got an MX-5. What do you got? Cool roller.
Well, not
The
anymore,
1.6
you
liter
don't.
engine.
1.6 litre engine.
The funny thing is, the
People
Corolla
like
wins
the
due to the
offense.
fact that it's not going to fucking break down.
What's that?
Yeah, if it's
I
an
win on
endurance
reliability.
race.
Yeah, it'll win the endurance race.
Oh, dear.
Well, more people are playing on legacy hardware than are playing on the new ones.
Yeah, no, I know, but
Because more people own the Legacy.
yeah, but it's got to be hard to play it knowing that there's a better experience. But I guess if you
Well,
don't own an Xbox One, then
Aren't they
PS4
offering
then-
that once you buy the next gen consoles, you actually get the game for free for that console?
Yes, that's true. I forgot about that. So yeah, so you can just start playing, and your character will be kept, and you get a free copy on the next gen consoles if you're planning to get one in the next 6 months or whatever. So
Wait, is it a free copy of the game for Xbox One and PS4, or is it a free transfer of your character?
no, free copy of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and your character's transferred as well. So. Indeed.
Wins.
Oh, speaking of next-gen stuff, just today, actually, the actual release date for GTA 5 on PC and Xbox One and PS4 was announced. Earlier they just said, end of 2014. The actual date was announced, so for Xbox One and PS4, it looks like it's the 18th of November. And for the Mustard Race PC is the 17th of January 2015. And so if you have GTA 5 and you've been playing on 360 or PS3, your characters get transferred over because it's all saved in the cloud. So you can play it on there and then buy the new version and keep your character, your online character. So
Except you won't because you've been playing that game for ages.
yeah, that's like, here you go, PC. you can have the game.
Important question, John.
Yeah.
Will Heist be out?
You are. Oh man,
Moving on.
That is a thing. That won't happen for a while.
See, that's interesting because I watched a trailer maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and it was announcing GTA 5 for the next gen, and it gave a release date for PS4 and Xbox One, and then it says PC soon to follow. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, so they've released that date, which is it's the 15th or the 17th. I forget exactly which one, but something like that in January next year. So, long time. Anyway, is there anything else from you guys?
Well, so all of the games I've been playing recently have all been aimed at one thing, trying to raise my extremely normal heart rate, okay? Because I needed something to force me to react.
Oh, sweet. Sweet Jesus, we're talking about it, aren't we?
Which...
You know which.
So one game I tried was Sakura Spirit, which is a softcore hentai visual novel now available on Steam.
God damn it, I warned you.
I know, but I saw the picture in the library and it was on sale, and I just I had to. She had fox ears, okay? One does not go past that.
Stay away from yippies.
Yeah, no, seriously, stay the hell away from this. This is terrible. This is one of the worst visual novels I've ever read, and I've really been throwing myself into this genre. I've read a few now, and this thing is awful. It's like the really obvious pandering, like you're all running through the forest, and for arbitrary reasons, you fall down a hole that somehow knocks the clothes off some girl, and arbitrary nonsense. But of course, this is on Steam, so we have to keep this, technically speaking, family friendly, or at least not R-rated. So everything's
So no tentacle rape.
It was a very poor choice by Sekai Project to work on that one, especially since it had already been licensed in the West by Manga Gamer.
Yeah. So everything is extremely half-assed, pun intended.
As a general rule, don't take anything that has ever been published by Manga Gamer if you want a serious visual novel.
Yeah, I'm now taking that to heart. Another few things I've been playing is I got Katua Soju working on my Android phone.
You would like to pronounce it correctly?
Katua Soju.
When are you guys gonna grow up?
Having this on Android is awesome.
Never.
Yeah, never. So now I can, have the feels on the go, which is awesome. Which is good.
Don't have feels anymore, Harry.
Plus, it would be the greatest newspaper headline ever. Man wanks to disabled hentai girls on phone on bus.
Disabled man wanks to children on phone.
Yes, disabled man with arrhythmia plays visual novel about disabled guy with arrhythmia fucking girl with no legs on a bus while wanking.
Thank you, Callan.
In other news, concise headlines sell less newspapers.
But at the end of the day, only one game actually finally broke the pattern of a at-rest heartbeat, and that, of course, was CS:GO, because that is the only game that can be fast-paced enough for that kind of stuff. It was really
one
funny.
Of the slowest shooters that there is.
I had to clutch a game, and I get halfway through, and I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Should I? Maybe I should stop playing. No, I'm the last one alive. I got to do this.
And you realise that that's just how we feel all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time I'd felt it.
Well, I think that's enough.
Yep, I think that's that. I'm gonna
We
go.
somehow managed to record twice the longest podcast we've ever done.
unless we fail on this one too. Just wait
Because
for
you
it.
left Tucker and Callum in the same chat room and just let them go at it for 40 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
this is getting edited a lot.
This is
So when you guys get a nice tight 25-minute long podcast, you'll know what's happened.
That has about 30 seconds of me in it.
Yeah, it's just Andrew's review of 2033 over and
That's
over
it.
again.
On loop.
Nice.
Oh, dude, you got to be ruder, Andrew. You got to butt in like we do over top of each other.
Yeah.
Then it'll work.
Alright,
Oh.
I'll
I'm
try
sorry,
and be
but-
an arsehole like the rest of you from now on.
Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hey,
That's
before
not why you
we
invite me.
wrap up, oh sorry, you go ahead, Cal.
No. Isn't that why you invite me to be an asshole?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, we invite you to derail it and talk about anime to piss off John.
I have been good. I have not brought this up. Harry did that.
Yeah. that was-
Very disappointed in you, Cal.
I did nothing.
Exactly.
I know. I'm getting better at it. Hey,
Yeah, you should have done something.
destruction by proxy.
I see. He is the puppet master. I am the puppet.
Dance, bitch.
Damn it. Hey Andrew,
Yep.
you want to help me out with this wombat stew?
Oh god.
What's it like?
Explain.
Gooey, yummy, chewy wombat stew.
This jerk off in a V8 Ute ran over this wombat that we've near Mudgee that my family's known about. It lives in this forest nearby. It's very sad having it hit by this jerk off in a Ute, and he just drove off. Wombat's very, very dead. And I'm there. I'm thinking, oh, what a waste. I could eat it. I suppose I could eat it. Yeah, I could eat it. Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna eat it.
How very Thai of you.
Or Malaysian,
Here's
you
the
know,
problem.
whatever.
Here's
whatever.
the problem. I of course I'm not a butcher. I've never had to butcher an animal before, and the process has so put me off the food that I've made that I haven't eaten any of it.
Well, now it's gross and old.
It's not gross and old.
It's stew. It lasts for a while.
It's a stew. It's stew will
It's
last.
a wombat stew, Tucker.
Please tell me everybody else read that book as a kid. Come on.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
we all did.
Yeah.
Gooey, gooey, yummy, chewy wombats.
Yeah.
No. I'm
So he was
afraid
a big
not.
bastard, like a massive wombat.
Huge, freaking huge. I couldn't
I
fit
just
all the
love the
bits in my
fact that you're
fridge.
treating this as though this is the big news story in Mudgee. How fucking boring is that place?
It's pretty boring.
Mudgee is a
Wombat run
prissy-
over.
There was a crash at the Mudgee airport.
Yeah, by a guy who made his own airplane. This is like a man after
Out, out of
shit, who
out
didn't
of
see
wombat
that coming?
skin.
Oh, no, I saw that guy, I was like, I salute you. He must have spent like the last 20 years of his life building that airplane just for it to kill him on the first go.
It's like you guys have nothing to do than build airplanes and eat well.
Welcome to Uninformed, where we talk about Mudgee airport crashes and utes hitting wombats.
And then we transition
gaming
into
podcast
IPS
ever.
panels.
To Australia in general. This is what Australia is like.
Or maybe at Mudgee.
To be fair, Australia has the only poisonous mammal in the world. The only fucking one.
What, the platypus? Is it
Yeah.
the platypus? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, it's funny because 28% of our demographic is from Texas. So something's going on in Texas where they like what we talk about, and I'm guessing that Texas is the equivalent of Australia in America. And they're gonna love this part.
I can relate.
Although, do they have wombats in other countries? What's a
No.
wombat?
No,
Strictly
it's
Australian thing.
Okay.
All
I guess the
marsupials
closest
Australian,
thing. I guess the closest thing would be like like a possum or something, if you know what that is. Something
No, I
like
think
possum.
like American.
It's like a bandicoot, but fat and shit.
Yeah. Although in America, possums are different. Possums are like rats.
Yeah.
Over here, they're
In
much
New
bigger.
Zealand, they're speed bumps.
Do not treat a wombat as a speed bump. It'll fuck your car up.
Your
No,
car
possums.
will flip.
You'll be
Yeah.
banned from Mudgee forever. You don't want that.
You'll be declared a jerk off by Lord Harrison Leake of the Mudgee clan. F it, I'm ending this fucking
Yeah, just
podcast
fucking
one
end
way
it.
or another.
Fucking
Thank you for joining
finish it.
us. Shut the f up. Thank you for joining us for Uninformed. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, watch us on YouTube, tweet us at Uninformed News, or email us at uninformedpodcast@gmail.com. Unfortunately, I'm John Clark, and I'm joined by...
I'm Harrison Lee.
Andrew Finn.
Callan Hilston.
And I'm Matt Tucker.
And you've become Uninformed.
Look sharp,